Is Joe Mazzulla doing the right thing, putting the Celtics through a very tough training camp right away? And what are the challenges of going halfway around the world to play preseason games? It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix, and 3 from KP. No, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Deuce, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in locked on NASA. Corrales on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how we started raising business. How we finish. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there. Welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. So happy to have you here as your first listen every Monday through Friday. Bonus podcasts on the weekends when they play, except for this preseason. So I'm going to save Friday, Sunday. I'll do an early podcast Sunday after the game is over and I'm done my writing. So that'll encompass both preseason games. But during the regular season, podcasts every time they play. So make sure you're subscribed. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into that comment section. Let me know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. I'm John Corrales. Been covering the Celtics team for about 20 years. I'm doing it right now as a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've written a couple of Celtics books, including Built Different, Celebrating Banner 18. Find it on johncorrales.com. You can get it signed, personalized, $30 anywhere in the United States. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. They're playing on Friday. It's a noon Eastern start. They're playing halfway around the world. We'll get into the challenges there a little later on in the show. But I wanted to start with just kind of a training camp reaction. And we're going to bring in Tom Westerholm, our guy, our boy, Tom Westerholm, Tommy West, as we like to call him. Very well known as Tommy West.
Yeah, more and more people are saying it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, notoriously known as, old Tommy West.
Yeah,
and you see his work at Boston.com. Tom, they're working extraordinarily hard at Celtics practice. It goes back to what you said, that quote from the ESPN story of Joe Mazzulla saying, Kristaps say, hey, what do you think training camp should be? A little, easy,
medium,
hard. Yeah, he's all medium. We'll go medium. And he's like, no, it should be the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life. Sorry,
you should be fighting for your life every single day. No, we don't fight for our lives enough in every day, in every day-to-day kind of living anymore.
So Joe Mazzulla has taken his inspiration from the movies once again, and has gone full gladiator. He has tigers coming out of the floor, and I think the guys are responding well to it. No, Tom.
Joe Mazzulla's got one of those chariots with the blade on it, and he's just riding it around practice. Like,
somebody on the Celtics is listening to this podcast and saying, please do not give Joe any ideas, because he will find a way to get some kind of animal pouncing out of somewhere, and beyond all of the little children who were chasing coaches around on Sunday. It was Sunday that they had all the kids out there. Very cute scene. A little duck goose with Jayson Tatum. It's wholesome Celtics on top of everything. But so what do you think, Tom? You think Joe's focus on the I'm going to make you guys want to puke from running so much you think that's the right way to go?
I think it's one of the more interesting things that we've seen Joe Mazzulla try so far, right? Because he is a guy who likes to do things. I mean, how many times have we talked about it? He's a contrarian. He likes to do things a little differently. And I think, when you think about conventional wisdom is when there's a 10-2 run, I'm going to call a timeout. And conventional wisdom is when I just got done with a long season that went into June and a bunch of my guys just played in the Olympics, maybe I won't work them too hard during training camp. And Joe is saying, nope. I'm going to try to whip these guys, into shape.
Sorry, the three words that every basketball player hates ever. If you've played basketball, you know the words, on the line are like the beginnings of like, oh, come on, coach.
Yep.
Sorry, interrupted.
Yep. Nope. For sure. And I mean, I think, there was a quote from Jaylen Brown that was like, trying to turn them into defensive warrior types, right? Like, I think there is something that he is trying to do here. Like, he's not just like he's not doing this to be a hardo. You know what I mean? Like, he has something that he wants to try out. He wants to see, like, okay, like you want a team that's going to hopefully contend another year, another couple of years. Okay, like, let's do it right now. Let's push everything in and like, yeah, hey, get ready. This is going to be a tough season. You're not trying to be a one-time champion. You're trying to be a multiple-time champion. Mazzulla's trying to kind of move things in that direction. And like, it's interesting. It's very early in the season. This season hasn't even started yet, and guys are already getting worked out. But I don't know. It's unconventional. But like, what else would you expect from this guy?
I feel like this is as much a mental game as anything else that he's doing.
Yep.
It's not a, hey, we're going to run because we want to play faster. No, I don't think so. They do want to play a little faster. They do want to start, their offense a little earlier in the shot clock. I think they recognize that's something that they're going to need to do. But that's not what this is. This is not like my college days when, we had two good players and a bunch of guys that had to work really hard. So, we're running just because that's all we had was our fitness and not a lot of basketball acumen. Okay, great. That's not what this is. It's a very good team. This is running so when they are dragging and grabbing their shorts, Joe says, okay, now do this. Boom, 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 and go. And I think it's also guys come into camp, guys who haven't won a championship. Most of these guys haven't won a championship. And you win and you expect certain things. I expect my training camp to be this. We're champions. We've had a lot of stuff to do this summer. I expect us to ease into things. And Joe is like, whatever you expected, nope, sorry, sucker. We are going to do something completely different. So, and when you expect it to go like super, super hard and, you're ready to run, he's probably going to have them like spend the whole camp doing puzzles. And just
that's actually, yeah, that's when all the guys are going to be playing duck, duck, goose. That's just going to
just a big game of adult duck, duck, goose.
Just Nemi going around duck, duck.
Yeah. Just when you get to Baylor Shireman, goose, smack him right across. Chase me, rookie. Boof.
Chase me with a concussion, rookie.
We are not afraid to haze here. So yeah, I think this camp is, again, we have nothing but Joe Mazzulla is such a weird, wacky genius type of stuff to say about Joe, because I think this is all part of it. This is all whatever basketball drills you think we need to do. It's not about that. He is the number one thing that he wishes he could do is erase the memory of the championship and spend 8 months just forgetting that somewhere along the way, people will be like, oh yeah, that banner. I forgot that we put that banner up there. Like that's the one thing that he wants more than anything, which sucks for him because it's the one thing none of us are going to let go.
Yeah.
I've got this championship background. I got a trophy in the background of the On Today show graphic here on YouTube. It's nothing but championship stuff. I'm still hawking my championship book. Like it's everywhere you look. It's hey champ, hey champ, hey champ. And he's like, no, nobody say the word champ.
Well, and it's really interesting too, because it's like, we talk all the time about how Joe is, kind of the mad genius or whatever. But like, and the truth, and he is, but the truth is that sometimes these things also don't work and he has to adjust them. And this one is kind of an interesting one, right? Because it is a bit of a risk. Like there is some amount of risk of like, pushing these guys this hard right now. Like it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting way to go about things, much in the same way that, again, to use the timeout example, that like saying like, okay, I'm not going to call a timeout and I'm going to see what's going to happen. And I'm going to see what these guys learn from it. Like, that's also an interesting idea. And it's like, this one's a little more high stakes. It's interesting. I'm
It
curious
is
to see
interesting.
how it goes. But
You want to know what else I think this is?
Hmm.
A compliment that he's paying to his team.
Hmm.
I'll explain that in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, our good friends over at FanDuel. They have America's #1 sports book, and they have a great way for NFL fans to really start this season big. I know we're a few games into the season now, and you can have a big return on FanDuel. If you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can just pick up your phone, pick up the app, and go, oh, let me check some of these stats here on FanDuel. You don't have to go to 10 different, sites or have two phones or have a laptop or whatever. You just have it all right here on your phone, and you tick, tick, tick. Okay, yep, I'm correct. I'm going to place my bet right here next to the stats. It's a great way to kind of go and follow up on your hunch. And if you place a $5 bet, you can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Your bet does not even have to hit. So go check it out. Place that $5 bet over on FanDuel. Use the tools that FanDuel has so you can set your limits, set your budget. Nobody wants you to go crazy here. If you want to have some fun, go ahead and have some fun. Gamble responsibly at FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. That's a show I'm going to record after I'm done with this with Jake Madison. The Wednesday show, we're going to hit up a lot of Media Day leftovers, play a bunch of real or fake with Media Day quotes. So that's going to be the Locked On NBA podcast. Check that out. Wherever you get your podcast, watch the show on YouTube, get into the comment section there and let me know what you think. Tom, Joe Mazzulla pushing his team as hard as he has been pushing them is in his own way a compliment to his team because the players are able to handle this. I think that's the compliment that he's paying these guys. The number one thing a coach is going to do is protect his players. And if he saw a bunch of guys with, the John Corrales, glaze over, I have abs too. I just am not irresponsible like Jaylen Brown, putting them out there like crazy. I have put a layer of protection over my abs. So that's, I'm being responsible with them. But Joe sees that those guys are, they're willing to throw their abs out there and come into camp in tremendous, tremendous physical condition. So he sees that and he's like, great, they are here and they are ready to work. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put them to work. It's a weird way to put it, but I think Joe has been so complimentary of the guys that they come into camp ready to go from day one. And there's no sitting around and there's no waiting for somebody to catch up. And there's no like, oh my God, this guy can't keep up with any of the running. This is a team. If you want to know the mentality of this team, where they are, what they're ready to do, the fact that Joe Mazzulla is putting them through all of this already and feels comfortable doing it, I think that's the compliment to the team and a good sign that the team is like focused on what they need to focus on.
Yeah. And I think it also, you talk about him being complimentary. I think the other thing that does, right, is it gives this sort of positive reinforcement and this sort of like, yeah, these guys are great. And like, and also I'm kicking their butts. So it's like, if it was like, if he wasn't kind of pushing this narrative of like, hey, these guys, which they did, right? I mean, one look at Jaylen Brown and it's like, okay,
Jesus Christ, dude, man, like
calm down.
Yeah, I mean,
but like
seriously,
but like, him saying like, hey, like these guys came into it in great shape. These guys have the right mentality. This is awesome. And then also pushing them is kind of like it's like a twofold great way to go about things. Like you're not trying to neg anybody. You know what I mean? You're not trying to like, like, I don't know, be like, well, you guys aren't working hard enough. That's not what he's doing. He's like, these guys are working very hard. I'm going to continue to work them very, very hard. Like I think that's it's a smart kind of psychological way to go about things is like compliment them and push them. It's going to be two things. Both can be true.
And the Al Horford said the perfect thing. I was asking about, Joe had already pulled out the batons for the relay race thing. He's already pulled out wiffle ball, and like going back to you, if you listen to Joe on this podcast about a month ago now, he said we're going to do the baton stuff. He talked about the Red Sox pop-up thing against the Toronto Blue Jays, and here he is with wiffle ball bats, obviously doing like some sort of pop-ups and whatever, getting these guys into fielding position. And they're doing them as like sort of warm-ups, and they're sort of fun. But anyway, I asked Al about it. I was like, do you guys ever just look at each other and go, okay, what is Joe doing now? Is there any eye rolling going on? And he says, no, because we've been around Joe now. This is our third year going in. And he basically said, and we said this on the last podcast that we did together, Joe kind of gets to where he needs to go whenever he's doing the weird stuff. So even if you have like this, okay, where's Joe going with this? You know that the punchline is going to land, right? It's like watching a comedian, it's like watching whoever your favorite comedian is, like on stage, you're ready to laugh at the end. You know this is going to be funny, so you're just buying into the premise, and at the end you're like, yup, hit it again. And I think that's what the Celtics are with Joe and his coaching and all of these tricks.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because it's like, you remember Jim Boylan?
Yeah.
And like he had all this kind of like hardo energy, and it like didn't work at all, and like nobody bought in. And I have to, like, I don't mean to just be like trashing a man like out of nowhere, right? But like
here come the strays. Duck, Jim, duck.
Sorry, I don't know. But like clearly something didn't work there, right? And I feel like Mazzulla's kind of the opposite of that, where it's like he is kind of like doing the hardo thing, but like in a way that is like connecting. It actually is reaching everybody. And I think part of that is, like the weirdness and the unconventionality of it. But like whatever it is, there's something about it that is connecting with the guys, and it is making sense. I mean, it makes sense when you listen to him talk. It makes sense when you listen to Locked On Celtics and Joe Mazzulla makes an appearance. It makes a lot of sense. It does make you kind of wish, like, oh man, I would love to have like a Hard Knocks Celtics training camp show to just like listen to all this stuff. Like, what is he saying to get a bunch of multiple time all-stars and all these guys, these talented basketball players to all buy in? Like, what is he saying to get all these guys who might have come in with different agendas to all be on exactly the same page with a man who's making them line up and run on the first day of training camp after winning it? Like, what is he saying? I would be fascinated to know. But yeah, whatever it is working.
A thought just popped into my head, which weird, right? I didn't have a thought. I'm going to throw this out to you. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll do the Abu Dhabi stuff after the break too. I want you to chew on this because I'm a big believer in the worst thing that happens sometimes can be the best thing that happens. Silver lining type of thing. Joe Mazzulla gets the job under the circumstances that he gets it. The team has to rally around, like, this is they had just come off of a loss in the finals. This is going to be a potential championship season. This was the prior season now, obviously. Does Joe getting the job like that under those circumstances, was that the best thing that could have happened to Joe? Because even though he had that year where it was tough to prepare and maybe you sacrifice a year, the guys had no choice because of the circumstances to lock in, to buy in and be like, okay, where is this guy going? And where maybe they could have tuned out if he had gotten the job under normal circumstances. This was like, hey man, this is all we got. And if we're going to win a championship, we got no choice but to listen to him. I wonder if the way he got the job was the best thing that could have happened. I'll get your reaction when we come back. Today's show brought to you by Game Time. It's the place to go to get those last-minute tickets to whatever you want. Sporting events, music, theater, comedy. It's all It's all there on Game Time. I've used it, and it's worked very easily. Very easy to find the tickets, buy the tickets, see what they cost, see what you're going to see. It's perfect. They've got this feature called Game Time Picks. Makes getting the tickets for your favorite event easier because they filter out the fluff. They only show you the incredible deals on those great seats, so it really saves you a lot of time. They curate these picks so you know that you're going to get the best deal. When you toggle on the all-in pricing feature, then you know what you're going to buy. You get those panoramic views from the seat so you can see what you're going to get. The lowest price guarantee, make sure you get to the lowest price, because if you find those tickets somewhere else for less, you'll get 110% of the difference credited to you. So it's very easy to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download that Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. So create an account, download that app, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Let's get back to this discussion here with Tom Westerholm. Quick reaction to the scenario I posed before.
I think it makes a lot of sense, honestly, because it's not just Mazzulla, right? It's not just him. Like it's everybody. Like think about the galvanizing way that you can come in and say, "Hey, listen, I get it, right? This is a tough situation. We're all in a tough situation. Let's work through it together." And that I think you're onto something, because that has been kind of the way that they've approached things since that event, right? It's like, like you've really seen this kind of like, yeah, we're all in it together. We're all working together. Mazzulla has had a very sort of collaborative way of working with his team that super seems to make sense and work. Yeah, I definitely think you're onto something. I think that makes a lot of sense.
And I think that's the type of attitude that carries them through like this Abu Dhabi trip, right? And it's not like 2008 where the Celtics started in Italy. Like we're talking about this in the media center. Like I think they did media day in Boston and then took off. So the entire camp was overseas. They didn't start camp, go. Like they practiced a few days, took Friday, Saturday off, practiced on Sunday, flew Monday. Now I don't think they're on the court. This is Tuesday. I don't know when they're getting on the court. Maybe 2 practices before the game. So it's haphazard.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to look around and be like, why do we have to do this? But I think Joe turns this into just another, hey, don't question why we have to do it. Just do it. You're going to get stuff thrown at you all season long. And you're going to sit there and maybe you're like, hey, great, we get to play New York. And I'm like, nope, psych, you got to go down to Miami. And now you got to play this, or not, guys would be happy to go to Miami, but like Orlando or whatever, like a place, like all of a sudden you're traveling a lot. And you just don't worry about this stuff. Like you knew it was coming. Here it is. Deal with it. Do it. If you're going to be a professional, they pay you very handsomely. Be a professional.
Yeah.
And don't fall into these traps. Joe, I guess one way you can boil it down, maybe the most easily with what he's doing is just don't fall for the traps. He's just like a minesweeper. He's just whatever mines are ahead of you, I'm going to clear all of these landmines. Our entire thing is the landmines are here, 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 and here. And we got to march through. So be aware, avoid them, and let's go. And I think that's kind of like what he's doing this season.
Yeah. There's a rapper who goes just by the name Chandler. One of my favorite lines that he has is like, "Don't ask me how I did it. I just did it. It was hard." And it's like, I love that line, but I also think it's like it sums up the Joe Mazzulla like mentality, right? It's like, yeah, I don't know, it was hard, and then I did it. Like it's like, yeah, that's okay, touche.
That's ultimately that's how you get through anything. And like this is quickly turning into like you keep saying the therapy Celtics. We very easily, when we're talking about Joe Mazzulla, all of this stuff applies to life. And it's not honestly why I love basketball so much. And the way that I love it is because it has guided me through a lot in life. All of these lessons are 100% transferable. And that line that you said, it works in basketball, it works in life.
Everything.
It works in everything.
So
sometimes things are hard and you can sit there and be like, oh man, this is too hard. Great. Then you're not going to get it done. I am going to get it done because I don't care. And that's the Joe Mazzulla mentality, right? I don't care. When poor Abby seems to catch some of the Mazzulla strays, because she's just like throwing so what are the challenges? And he's like, who cares? Who cares what the challenges are? And he's not directing it at her, but it's that mentality that I just said. Who cares? It doesn't matter if it's a challenge or not a challenge. It just is.
Yes.
And we've known for many, many months that this was coming. You had a lot of time to plan for it. We are going to make sure that you have everything that you need. So just go do it. And if anybody's got a problem with it, stay home.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I mean, it does make it one of the fun things about, covering Mazzulla is that there is like, you do manage to turn a lot of these types of conversations into just like philosophical, like he turns everything very, very big picture, which is makes it more fun to talk about for sure. I don't know. I mean, I also think like to your point, right? The Celtics, this is a challenging trip for sure. You know, that like a lot of time zones being switched up and all this other stuff. It's a lot. On the other hand, we're also talking about a team that can, that we're talking about a league that charters flights and everybody will be in very nice accommodations and everybody will have all the best. There's a lot of stuff to your point, right? Where it's like, okay, yes, this is going to be a challenge and you're aware of it, but also and like we've prepared for it, we've done the training camp to prepare for it, all that stuff, but also like there are all these different amenities and everything else to help you deal with those challenges and work through those challenges. And just do it, you'll be okay. And then we'll come back and then play some games in the United States where you're used to it.
Sorry, Jaylen Brown, that we have to use the Nike catchphrase, but just do it really applies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And we just done it. Podcast is over. Thanks, Tom Westerholm.
Appreciate you.
And I appreciate all of you listening, popping the podcast on in the morning on your way to work. Maybe you're on your way home. Maybe you're doing something else. Whatever it is, I really am glad that you've chosen the Locked On Celtics podcast. Heading into we're past 2,000 episodes. So heading into just another season of Celtics basketball. Really appreciate it. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, watch a show on YouTube, get into that comment section. Let me know what you're thinking about everything that I've said, everything Tom said. We right? Are we wrong? And then I would love everybody to share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.